I'm gonna say something that might hurt your feelings, but it's gonna change your life. You don't like structure because you most likely grew up in survival mode. So you constantly starting stuff and stopping. You have all these unfinished projects because what you don't understand is that everything that you go after is going to require structure, and it's going to have a technical part of it that you have to master in order to combine it with your creative ability and your God-given gift. It's not just about your God-given gift. It's also about learning the principle of things and being able to take constructive criticism, being able to know what structure is and how to apply it. What survival mode does to you is cause you to work alone. You can figure things out better alone than you can with a group of people because you are surviving. So you know how to move things around within yourself. You don't have to include nobody else, and you much rather not because you know that comes with you having to stop and pause and consider, and you don't want to do that. You used to just have things your way for the sake of surviving, right? So when it comes to you being in a position to where you now have to lean on people and you have to learn structure, you have to learn the technical part of things, and then combine that with your gift. The fact that you've been able to survive alone, get through what you get through, that's a gift. You know what I'm saying? You are creative, you are innovative. That is a gift from God. Our environments just made us use our gifts in a way that did not always serve us. Didn't mean that we wasn't gifted. It just meant that we were given circumstances that didn't truly enhance those gifts in a proper way. So now we're in a position in life where our resources look different, where our knowledge, our exposure to the wisdom that we have is different. Our relationship with God is different. So now we start to see, oh, I can use my innovation in this way. I don't have to use it in a way that's detrimental to myself in the future, just to serve me right now and what I'm trying to get through currently. So now that you're stepping out and you're trying to use your innovation in a way that does not look like the ways that you've been using it, you stepping outside that lifestyle, you're not trying to go that direction no more, you're trying to do something new, you are driving yourself crazy because you never knew how to truly implement structure. The way that you went about things, it wasn't no structure to it. It was quite random. You get what I'm saying? But things just worked out for you because favor was on you. You had a gift to gab. You knew how to finesse. You were relentless in your pursuit of that. You get what I'm saying? So it was working for you. But now with what you are believing for and how big and important and impactful that thing is, it can't work like that no more. So you keep trying to do things in the same way and it's not working for you no more. You keep trying to go in that same direction and you're starting and stopping. You have so many unfinished projects because you're trying to go about it in a way that no longer serves you. God's trying to challenge you so that he can increase your capacity. You keep praying, God, give me more. God, increase my territory. God, do this. He can't do that if you won't let him increase your capacity. You have to learn how to get structure. So now that you're stepping out to be innovative in a different way, you're learning how to implement structure with technicality, principle, and your creative ability, your God-given gifts. It's not one living without the other. It's all cohesive. Let me tell you something. We've been taught that structure is okay. You get a car, you get a house, you got a career, you got constant money flowing in, whatever. But structure is being able to take constructive criticism and apply it without being in your feelings. Structure is being able to have balanced relationships, personal and business-wise, okay? Structure is being able to process things mentally to the point where you don't think somebody's trying you. I'm an artist. God has called me to the music industry, okay? So I thought making music is like, okay, I'm making music on like GarageBand and stuff like that, and I do my own thing, and I just flow, and I go about my way. It'd be real Jay Dillish. You know what I'm saying? I do my own thing. I'm starting trends. But then I get into the space where I'm working with other creatives and people who are on a higher level professionally, right? They like count to 16 in your head and you sing at the 16 mark and then you do this and we break this down as a hook, as a verse. I don't work like that. But that's structure. That's technicality that is required in order to prosper in this industry. Doesn't mean that you can't be creative. Doesn't mean that you can't still be free flowing. Doesn't mean that you can't still be you. But it just means that you have to combine all of those so that you can operate at your highest levels, that your capacity can increase as well as your quality, right? So in life, when you get used to operating in an unstructured way, especially because you came from survival mode and you never really had stability, that transfers into everything. It transfers into your personal relationships. It transfers into the way that you operate when it comes to work, when it comes to your creativity, when it comes to everything. So you thinking like, oh yeah, when I get the house, when I get the car, I get this and that, I'm structured, I'm stable. You're actually not. You can have the car, the house, the money, and you still be completely unstable in all your ways because you don't even know how to apply certain things technically to your life to make it balanced. And you don't trust nobody. That's a whole nother thing that I've been learning about myself. You don't trust nobody. So if you're in a space where you don't even know how to have structure or stability in certain areas, and you think that it's only the house, the car, the money, you'll focus on that, and you won't even be able to keep solid relationships or a solid thing going in your life. You'll always forever be starting over because you think structure is just the physical things like money, cars, in the house, when it's your processing system. It's how you treat your relationships. It's how you handle your business. It's how you have conversations. And a lot of that comes with trust. So if you can't even trust your like mental processing system, you're not going to trust nothing. You're not going to be able to have no type of structure in your life. So it's like you have to get to a position in your mind where you begin to perceive things differently and look and embrace structure in your life fully. Because if you don't embrace it because you're used to operating in the way that you want to operate, you're going to self-sabotage yourself out of a lot of opportunities and situations because you're used to looking at things from a one-sided lens. You're used to being like, oh, I can start over. Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm used to doing this. So I'm just going to go somewhere where I'm comfortable and I can do it this way. And ultimately, that's not going to be what you need. It's not going to be a answer to your prayer. It's going to be an answer to your emotions. It's going to be an answer to keeping you stagnant. It's going to be an answer to keeping you in delay. But it's not going to be an answer to your prayer because you're praying for your capacity to increase. But in order for your capacity to increase, you have to have structure. You have to know the principle of things. And you have to be able to combine technicality with your creative ability and who you naturally are. So I understand that you're used to doing things your own way. But if you want to continue to be in your way, then continue to do it your way. Continue to have it your way. Okay? Continue to be Burger King if that's what you want to do. But if you really want your prayers answered and you want to see it come to fruition tangibly in your life, you're going to have to shift your perspective on how you do things and be open to constructive criticism. And a lot of the time, like when you don't want to be, because I'd be struggling sometimes with pride. Like I don't want to be embarrassed. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to mess up. I don't like looking crazy. But you have to embrace that in your life when you're learning new things, especially when it comes to you embracing structure and gaining a new perspective on life so that you can be structured in all areas of your life, not just the material areas. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to have to step outside of your pride because a lot of that be pride. The fact that you can't take constructive criticism. The fact that when you mess up, it's like, oh, I'm just going to start over and run away. I ain't doing this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French, but it's like A lot of that is pride. A lot of that is ego. So you have to be able to step outside of that and push that to the back of you to say, you know what, like whatever it takes for me to gain structure in my life, I'm going to have to place myself in uncomfortable positions and know that it's not a slight to me for me not to be perfect. Because when you come from no structure and survival mode, you're constantly auditioning to be perfect, especially in your environments. Like you just want to be the best possible. You want to get out of your situation. You want to be at the highest point. So it's like when you get to the point where you don't feel like you're at your highest and you're not understanding things not clicking, that pride and that ego kicking to be like, I'm out. I'm going to escape. I'm going to start over. And you have to get out of that perspective or you'll continue to stay in your own way and re-enter that cycle that you're begging to get out of. I'm about to break this down to you in a way where you're going to have to take notes. Okay, so make sure you get what you need to be able to get this information. The best way that you can build and gain more structure is to first pinpoint what the definition of structure is. I have notes myself, so I will be looking down. Structure is anything that is constructed or built from different interrelated parts with a fixed location on the ground. I'm gonna break it down. Don't be like, oh, I'm out. Stay. Anything that is interrelated means that it's working together as one for a common goal, okay? Fixed location, fixed in general, is anything that is permanent. That is where you will be at. And grounded is what you are standing on, the thing that you are not going to shift or move no matter what else is moving. And if you are to shift because of circumstances, you will return back to it because it's what keeps you solidified, balanced, okay? So in this scenario, as far as how to get more structure within life in a realistic way, is grounded. Your ground point is going to be God. That's what you're always going to return back to and stand on no matter what. His principle, his word, and his leadership, and whatever he's guiding you towards. That's his promise. That's what you're standing on. When it comes to your fixed location, that's going to be your vision. That's the thing that's not moving. It's not going nowhere. No matter what happens, what adversity is coming up against you, you're ultimately going to get that thing. So your vision is your fixed location. And your interrelated parts are going to be your realistic plan. Those are going to be the things that work together in order for you to remain structured and get to your vision and honor what God is leading you towards. So remember, structure is to be organized or to build something. So you have to get organized. This is the part where you're really gonna have to take some notes. So when it comes to planning a successful build, you're ultimately trying to build yourself. That's why you want structure. When it comes to this, and I'm using the analogy of actually building a house. The first and most important thing that they do is they identify the building site. Where are they planning to lay the foundation of this home? So the most important question is, where are you building and what are you building? Okay, I understand that the space that you may be in currently is chaotic, but it doesn't matter. Just because it's chaotic does not mean that you cannot focus. The problem be when we are in chaotic environments, especially when we come from survival mode, we try to make it pretty. We try to dress it up. We try to make it aesthetic to make us comfortable. In this season of your life, it's not about your comfort. It's about your focus. So nobody cares about you being comfortable. This is not for you to make it aesthetic. It's for you to organize it so that you can focus and it can ultimately work for you. Within the article that I'm referencing when it comes to the breakdown of how to build a house, it says that you have to choose a location that specifically fits your needs. So if your home environment does not fit your needs and you cannot operate on any type of level of getting organized in any way because of how chaotic it is, then you need to find a location outside of your house, whether that's the coffee shop, whether that's the school, whether that's the library, whatever it is for you, find a specific location that fits your needs and will ultimately invest into what it is that you're trying to build, okay? The second thing that this article said was you need to consider neighbors, sunlight, and property lines when planning the structure. So who is in your atmosphere, why are they there, and what do they contribute? You need to know who you're around. You need to know who's in your corner and who's not in your corner. And this is not for you to try to address it and figure out why they don't support you or why it seems like they secretly hate on you. No, it's just so that you can be aware and shut your mouth so that you can move efficiently, so that you can peep what's going on. You don't got to address nothing. Vengeance is the Lord's. God got that, place that in his hand. This is just so that you know who to go to and who not to go to, so that you don't sabotage yourself while you're trying to build like you always do, running your mouth to people who are ultimately not even for you, and not because they really don't like you, but because there is trauma and past experiences working within them, so they're projecting on you and you're internalizing it as if there's something wrong with you and they're talking to themselves. The third thing, hire an architect or purchase a building plan. You need to get in alignment with a divine strategy. So go to God in prayer and be realistic, because you've been creating plans that are completely unrealistic. They don't match your circumstance or what you even truly desire, nor do they match what you really need. You need to combine realism with supernatural insight. This is the purpose of you going to God and being extremely realistic and intentional about what you're asking him for when it comes to divine strategy, because he's going to reveal to you something that nobody in the world can, okay? And when you get real with God, you can invite him in doors that have been closed off to him because you don't want to be real. He can't bless what you pretend to be, nor can he give you strategy for what you pretend to have. Your pride got to go out the door. We trying to get changed, okay? Your ego got to be completely killed. We trying to elevate. God is the blueprint, he's the building plan, and he is the architect. You are simply the interior designer. So after you get this foundation, baby, you're going to soar. You get what I'm saying? The aesthetic is going to give, but you have to get the foundation right first, or every single time you get the aesthetic, you'll still won't be enough. You still won't feel worthy. You still won't be able to grow because the foundation is cracked, but you look good while your foundation is slowly falling apart. And this is what causes us to ultimately be double-minded, because we're going back and forth and back and forth, and it's like, oh my gosh, but I got the right outfit, but I got the car, but I got the house, but I got the credit score, but I got this. You didn't get the foundation though. So yeah, you can go out here and survive in the world, but spiritually and internally, you're not grounded or solidified. So that's why you can't stay consistent in building and believing that you can become what you ultimately desire in your spirit. The fourth step is to secure the appropriate permits. Make sure you're making the right investments. If your ultimate goal is to get toned and lose weight in the gym, then you no longer need to be spending your money on nothing fast. So make sure that you are extremely intentional about identifying what it is that you need to invest into down to the penny. Okay, down to the penny. And if you don't have the money, still get your numbers right. Because one thing about it, God is going to provide for you in the most miraculous ways possible. You didn't even expect for a refund to hit your account, and it's the exact amount that you asked for, but you need to know the amount to know what to ask God to invest into and why you need that investment, so that you don't get the money and it's like, oh well, I just had to pay this bill, and now you're back asking God for the same money again to invest in ultimately what's going to change your life. You got to be extremely intentional. So make the right investments, okay? This is where discipline comes in. The fifth step is use the plans to determine what work you can do yourself. But when I began to write this down, God downloaded it in my spirit and said you need to identify what areas you need help in. You know what you can do yourself. You've been doing it. You're fantastic at it. That's no problem. You do it with ease. You do it unconsciously. But what areas do you need help? This is not a solo journey. God does not say where two or more people meet for no reason. He believes deeply in community. So you need to identify where you need help so that you can then go to God and ask for a mentor if you don't already have one. And if a mentor, and until that mentor comes, identify somebody that you are deeply inspired by and study their character and what foundation they stand on and apply it to your life as necessary. Do not idolize them, okay? And then a good steward over what you have learned in yourself. I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna do the last 2 points in another video, okay? But I hope this is helping you so far. So after they set their plans to build this house, now it's time for them to pour the concrete and start solidifying things. All the work that they have put in, all the other steps that they have taken is now what they are about to lay in stone, literally, so that they can stand on it. It's solidified, it's not changing, it is what it is. It's become a part of them fully. It's become a part of the house, the part that cannot be changed. That's why they're extremely intentional about what they are about to set in stone, okay? So the way that you're going to pour your concrete is by being consistent and accountable. Consistency is going to come in when you begin to gain more trust with yourself. And the only way that you're going to build back trust with yourself is by committing to the things that you're saying you're going to do. So if that's working out once a week, because let's be serious and go back to realistic reality. We'd be like, oh, I'm working out every single day. You can't even work out once a week. So start working out once a week before you be like, I'm going to work out every single day. And now you fail through in your commitments and you have disappointed yourself and broken trust. So you don't even trust yourself to really do it. And now it's months later and you still want to accomplish that goal, but you don't trust yourself to do it. So in order for you to build trust with yourself again, you need to commit to the things that you're saying you want to do and make it realistic for you to commit to and be consistent in that. You're going to build back trust with yourself that way. And then you will begin to hold yourself accountable on the days where it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing that. I don't really know. I'm having a rough day. You're going to be like, oh, no, I trust myself. Oh, no, I've been doing this thing. Oh, no, I'm seeing results. Oh, no, I know the reason why I'm doing this. So you're going to hold yourself accountable. And if you have taken the proper steps to make sure the right people are around you, okay, you've invited in the Holy Spirit, you've invited in the Most High, ain't no better accountability than that, okay? Because he going to speak to that person that call you and say, hey, girl, did you work out today? Oh, what we doing? Oh, come on. You know that friend that you really be ignoring because they going to hold you accountable down to the everything you said and it annoys you, but it's a blessing? Yeah, God's going to put that on their spirit. And if they're not available, if they're going through something, the Holy Spirit going to get on you. You're going to feel it in your spirit, in your soul that you need to get up and go commit to that thing because you have no excuse, okay? So accountability is going to be key on top of consistency, but you must first trust yourself in order to even accept that. And then last, but certainly not least, before you seal your foundation, you need to have the work that you put in, the ground that you have built, the version of you that you have become, you need to have it completely inspected. They have the house completely inspected before they begin to really build on top of it because they need to make sure that the work they put in is going to stay solid and it's not going to break and it's not going to fall once they start to really build the other key elements on top of this foundation. So they hire inspectors. So your inspector is going to be God. You fight not against flesh and blood, it's spiritual. So you need to make sure you're keeping your relationship with the Most High so God can say that's not right, so that you can allow God to check your heart, okay, so that you can always be in a space to where you are not fighting correction. Because one thing about it, that foundation can crack, okay? If you miss something, all of a sudden the house falling apart, and then the stuff you put in is gonna stop working. You didn't just bought the house, and 2 months later all the appliances going out, but you didn't spend over 300 grand on this house and it looks so pretty from the outside, but the foundation was cracking, the wiring wasn't even right, okay? So you have to be in a constant state of being like, I don't mind being corrected. God, check my heart, check my temperature. Anything that is not supposed to be with me, let it burn up. Put me through the test of fire, and I know that I will survive. And anything that's not supposed to be with me will burn up, and whatever doesn't burn up was supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? So make sure that you are constantly seeking the face of the Most High so that He can be checking your temperature. When you apply all this, and as you continue to build your trust back with yourself, nothing and nobody can come against you right now. All you gotta do is believe that and speak it out your mouth. You can tell a mountain to move. Your words are powerful, okay? Life and death is in your tongue. All right? That's why some stuff hasn't worked out for you because you're cursing yourself all the time. Check what's coming out your mouth. Check what you're talking about with them friends, okay? Check what conversations you even listening to because what you're listening to is gonna slowly go to your heart and it's gonna start coming out your mouth. And you're gonna be like, why I'm cussing so much? Because you're around somebody that don't know how to control their mouth. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So do not allow any adversity that's going to try to come up against you when you start implementing what I just told you. When adversity tries to come up against you, you tell adversity to move around, okay? Because it's going to dry. The worst thing that you can do for the kingdom of darkness is get free. The worst thing that you can do for people who want you to stay stuck and stagnant, including yourself, your lower self, your trauma, the worst thing that you can do for those things is get free because they'll no longer have a stronghold on you. It'll no longer keep you. You'll be in a whole different place. So once you start to implement this and take the proper steps to change, adversity is going to try you. But you need to know that you are bigger than adversity. You know what I said in my last video? That came out my mouth through the Holy Spirit? That problem that you focus on is smaller than the mustard seed. Baby, it's smaller than that. Okay? So you are trampling on the lion and the serpent already. So make sure when the adversity come up, you let it know who you are, who you work for. And then last but certainly not least, when I first started making videos and creating ebooks and digital products, I discovered that a lot of people had the fear of moving because they did not want to disappoint God. They didn't want to waste no more time. They didn't want to make the wrong decision. So they stayed stuck, stagnant, and depressed. Depression ultimately came because they weren't moving because they were afraid. So I created an ebook that will help you identify where your fear has stemmed from, whether that's trauma, whether that's a word curse over your life, whether that's your past relationship. It helps you identify not only where your fear came from, but how to combat the fear and create a strategy around it so that you can step forward. It's not only going to help you step forward, but help you identify what decision you need to make. There's a pros and cons chart within the ebook that I created that's going to help you map out what the pros are going to be of you staying in fear and what the cons are going to be of you staying in fear and what you should do stepping out so that you can visually see what is holding you back. Because a lot of the times we try to combat everything in our mind. We try to keep everything in here and solve everything in our brain to where it's all mixed up with what you got to do today, what you had for lunch yesterday, what man you thinking about, and you can't even really problem solve like that. So this chart is going to help you visibly see what is coming up against you so that you can conquer it and move forward. But as always, regardless of which way that you go, I pray that you are leaving this video way better than you came. All of that, you chose me. You used the thing that I thought was small. I was just talking. I was just sharing a story. I was just motivating somebody for the day. You used what I thought was small as something that's impacting multitudes of people. It's way bigger than what I saw it as. And I want to tell you in this moment that story that you have to tell, the thing that God's been putting on your spirit, that experience that you had growing up, the revelation that you received, it's big. It's not small. So share it. You're not crazy. You're not too far gone. It doesn't matter that other people have different circumstances to you. Your circumstances are still equally as important. So stop diminishing yourself because other people are going through worse. Y'all felt the same feeling regardless if the circumstances was different. Y'all can relate. And ultimately, you sharing that story is going to set people free. It's impactful. So stop tricking yourself into thinking that it's little because it's big and it's mighty and you are a giant. So every adversity, everything that's trying to come up against you, it's a small thing to a giant. You are big, and what is in you is big. So stop thinking it is small. God's going to use you to impact the world. I used to despise my voice. I did not like it. I got bullied and picked on so bad when I was younger. I used to try to change my voice, and then it got to the point where I just didn't talk that much no more. And then one day I had this revelation. The enemy will make you hate the very thing that God will use to impact other people. Go back in time by reflecting on what it was that you were bullied about the most, picked on about the most when you were a child. That is the area that God is going to use the most to impact people in your life. That is the area that God is going to use the most. The enemy's only going to attack you in the area that he knows God is going to use, that he knows will impact other people. That's where he will make you the most insecure. He does it when you're young and naive and ignorant to what is going on. I'm going to read what 2 Corinthians 5 through 10 is. It's all about awaiting the new body. And for some reason, I feel as if it's going to correlate by the end of this message, and God is putting on my spirit to read it. So it says, "For we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. Meanwhile, we groan, longing to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling. Because when we are clothed, we will not be found naked. For while we are in this tent, we groan in our burden, because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed instead with our heavenly dwelling. So that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life. Now the one who has fashioned us for this very purpose is God, who has given us the Spirit as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come." The down payment, okay? "Therefore, we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord. For we live by faith and not by sight. We are confident, I say, and would prefer to be away from the body and at home with the Lord. So we make it our goal to please him, whether we are at home in the body or away from it. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." It goes on to speak about the ministry of reconciliation. "Since then we know what it is to fear the Lord, we try to persuade others. What we are is plain to God, and I hope it is also plain to your conscience. We are not trying to commend ourselves to you again, but are giving you an opportunity to take pride in us so that you can answer those who take pride in what is seen rather than what is in the heart. If we are out of our mind, as some say, it is for God. If we are in our right mind, it is for you. For Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. And he died for all, and those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and raised again. So from now on we regard no one from a worldly point of view. Though we once regarded Christ in this way, we do so no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them."